Welcome, Money Magicians. Today we're diving into mastering rich money rules. If you're ready to leave financial stress in the dust and start seeing your bank account to grow, then hold on tight because we're about to unpack 15 rules of wealth that'll change your life. And hey, if you're enjoying this journey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join the coolest financial squad on YouTube. Let's start with a simple idea. Anybody can make money. Wealth isn't reserved for the ultra-privileged or the lucky few. So let's jump into how you can get started on your path to financial freedom. Ready? Let's go! All right, first things first, money doesn't have a VIP list. If you've ever felt that only certain people can become wealthy, it's time to kick that idea to the curb. Money doesn't care about your background, your education, or where you're from. Making money comes down to two things. Your willingness to learn and take action is about grabbing the opportunities around you, no matter where you start from. Imagine this, Oprah, Jay-Z, and even Shark Tank's Mark Cuban, none of them were born with silver spoons. They built their wealth with grit, vision, and a whole lot of hustle. These aren't people who waited for wealth to magically appear. They went after it, eyes wide open and sleeves rolled up. And here's where the magic happens. You can do it too. No silver spoon required. Start by taking small steps like developing a skill, networking, or creating a budget. And don't overlook side hustles. Even selling homemade crafts online or freelancing can start building your financial future. Wealth isn't something handed out, it's something you create. So believe that if they can do it, so can you. Every dollar saved or earned puts you on the path toward mastering the money rules. Now let's move on to the next rule and help you define what wealth really means to you personally. Here's the deal, wealth isn't just about dollar signs. For some people, it's having financial freedom. For others, it's the chance to live life on their terms. That's why the second step to mastering these rules is deciding on your unique definition of wealth. Think of it like this. Imagine two people, Sarah and Mike. Sarah dreams of a cozy cabin in the mountains, living simply with just enough to cover her needs. Mike, on the other hand, dreams of a penthouse in the city, fine dining, and a life of travel. Both are visions of wealth, but they require totally different financial plans to achieve. Without knowing your end goal, you're setting out on a journey without a map. Imagine you start building wealth, working endless hours, only to realize you've saved up for a lifestyle you don't even want. Knowing your personal definition keeps you on a path that's true to you. So take a moment to decide what your version of wealth looks like. Is it about freedom, security, luxury? This isn't about copying anyone else's goals. It's about knowing exactly what you want. When you have a clear definition, every decision becomes a step toward that vision. So get that goal down on paper, visualize it, and keep it in your sights. It's time to design your wealth journey with your vision in mind. And trust me, that's what this money rule is all about. Now that you've defined your version of wealth, let's talk about setting goals. Think of your objectives as the GPS that'll guide you to financial freedom. You wouldn't set off on a road trip without knowing the destination, right? The same goes for money. When it comes to goals, be specific. Don't just say, I want to be rich. How much do you want to save? What's the timeline? For example, instead of I want financial freedom, try, I want to save $10,000 by next year. Or I'll have 3 streams of income within the next 2 years. Specific goals keep you motivated, even when the road gets bumpy. A clear objective doesn't just keep you focused. It keeps you going through the tough times. And here's the real magic. Every step toward your goal, big or small, is progress. So if you're saving $100 a month or learning about investing, celebrate that. It's easy to get discouraged, but small wins add up. And by the way, if you're enjoying this video so far and want more content like this, comment more below so I'll notice. All right, let's move on to the next rule, where we'll talk about the power of keeping your goals a little more private. All right, this might surprise you, but sometimes it's better to keep your financial goals to yourself. Why? Because once you start sharing, everyone around you might chime in, and not always with the most supportive feedback. Take my friend, let's call him Jake, as an example. He had a dream of saving up $50,000 to start a small business. But every time he mentioned it, people would say things like, "Are you sure that's realistic?" Or "Why not just stick to a regular job?" Eventually, he stopped sharing his goal kept his head down, and guess what? He saved the money, launched his business, and never looked back. When we talk about these rich money rules, it's about keeping that internal fire alive without letting others throw water on it. Sure, seek advice when you need it, but remember, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Your goals are for you, Money Magician. The world doesn't always understand your vision, and that's okay. Protect your goals, and let the results speak for themselves. You'll find it's a lot easier to stay focused and motivated without dealing with external doubts or questions. Keep that passion alive and keep moving forward. The next money rule you need to know now is most people are too lazy to be wealthy. Here's a tough pill to swallow. Most people simply aren't willing to put in the effort to become wealthy. Think about it. Building wealth requires consistent action, sometimes making sacrifices, and often doing things others aren't willing to do. Mastering this rule is all about setting yourself apart with disciplined effort. Look around, and you'll see people spending hours scrolling on social media or binge-watching TV shows, but they'll say they're too busy to learn about investing or budget their finances. Sound familiar? That's because discipline isn't glamorous, but it's the backbone of wealth. Here's a story that drives it home. I met someone who spent hours each day playing video games but couldn't find time to track his expenses. Eventually, he realized he was living paycheck to paycheck, struggling with debt, and missing out on potential wealth. When he finally prioritized his financial goals, things turned around. Instead of scrolling or gaming, he dedicated an hour each day to learning about finances. Today, he's debt-free and has built up a solid savings account. The takeaway? Wealth favors the diligent. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy life, but the key is moderation and consistent action. Spend a little less time on the unproductive and a little more on your financial goals. Small, daily actions add up in big ways over time. Commit to financial discipline now, and the future will thank you. All right, Money Magician, it's time for a reality check. Before we move forward to the next money rules, you need to know exactly where you stand. It's like setting a baseline before you begin your journey. You need to see the map before you can navigate. Grab your bank statements, list your debts, tally up your assets, and get a clear picture of where your finances are. This isn't about judging yourself. It's about knowing where you are so you can plan where you're going. Facing reality might be uncomfortable, but it's essential. When you avoid looking at your finances, you're in the dark, and that's a tough place to make informed decisions. For example, a friend of mine realized his credit card debt had spiraled out of control. He'd been avoiding checking the total because it felt overwhelming. But once he confronted it, he was able to make a plan, negotiate better interest rates, and prioritize paying it down. Fast forward a year and he's almost debt-free. A reality check gives you the foundation to build a solid plan, so face the facts, take a deep breath, and get that full picture of your financial situation. You'll feel empowered, not intimidated, once you see where you're at. Up next, understand your money beliefs. Our beliefs about money run deep, often shaped by family, culture, and early experiences. Understanding these beliefs is crucial because they influence your financial decisions every day. Whether it's money is the root of all evil or money doesn't grow on trees, these beliefs might be holding you back more than you realize. Imagine you grew up hearing that rich people are greedy. Without realizing it, you might avoid wealth-building opportunities to avoid being seen as greedy. Or if you were raised with, "we'll never have enough money," you might unknowingly make decisions that limit your income. Here's a powerful exercise. Write down your core beliefs about money. Do they help you grow, or do they hold you back? One person I know discovered that his family's scarcity mindset kept him in jobs with low pay, feeling afraid to ask for raises. When he shifted his beliefs to see money as an opportunity, he found the courage to pursue better opportunities. Once you understand where these beliefs come from, you can choose which ones to keep and which ones to leave behind. Create a mindset that aligns with growth, security, and abundance, and watch how your money choices transform for the better. Life isn't static, and neither are your financial needs. These money rules means adapt as you go, because what works in your 20s won't necessarily fit your lifestyle in your 40s or beyond. Your financial journey is a bit like updating your wardrobe. As your life changes, your financial strategies should too. Maybe you're just starting out and focused on paying off student loans or building an emergency fund. Later, your priorities may shift to buying a home or saving for a family. By the time you're nearing retirement, your focus might turn to preserving wealth and enjoying the fruits of your labor. A friend of mine once lived for travel and adventure in his 20s. Every paycheck went toward plane tickets and exploring the world, which was great then. But things changed when he started a family. He had to pivot his spending and start thinking about long-term stability. Instead of travel funds, he focused on college funds and building a more secure future. Revisit your goals every few years and adjust them based on your life stage. Flexibility is key here. Stay open to evolving with your life's needs and keep your finances on track. It's about creating a plan that grows with you. This rule may sound simple, but it's the cornerstone of building wealth, which is learn to live below your means. It's about spending less than you earn so you can build up savings, invest, and prepare for the future. Picture this. I once knew someone who seemed to have it all: the big house, the luxury car, the designer clothes. But behind the scenes, he was maxing out credit cards, borrowing from friends, and constantly stressed about money. Eventually, it all caught up to him, and he had to sell off most of his possessions. Living beyond his means cost him his financial stability, and it took years to rebuild. Learning to live within your means doesn't mean deprivation. It's about prioritizing what truly matters. Choose experiences that add value to your life rather than spending on things just to impress others. When you create a budget and stick to it, you're empowering yourself to grow your wealth over time. True wealth isn't about appearances. It's about security and freedom. By living within your means, you're setting yourself up for lasting financial success. Money Magician, here's a skill that'll pay off over and over again. Don't be afraid to ask for money. These rules means being comfortable with negotiation, whether it's a salary, a freelance rate, or even seeking investment for a business idea. Think of it this way: if you don't ask, you don't get. Imagine walking into a meeting to negotiate your salary. Instead of feeling like you're asking for a favor, approach it as a conversation about your worth and the value you bring. Studies show that most people who negotiate earn higher salaries than those who don't. So don't miss out on that opportunity just because it's a little uncomfortable. A friend of mine once hesitated to ask for a raise. He thought his boss would say no, but after a few months, he decided to go for it. He presented his accomplishments, explained the value he added, and, surprise, his boss gave him a raise. Not only did it increase his income, but it also boosted his confidence to ask for more in the future. Asking for money is a skill that requires courage and preparation. Know your worth, do your research, and have the confidence to ask for what you deserve. Whether it's a raise, a new client rate, or support for a project, mastering this skill can be a game changer in building your wealth. In a world of get-rich-quick schemes, the power of hard work often gets overlooked. But let me tell you, the people who achieve lasting wealth are usually the ones who put in the effort and stay the course. Hard work is the foundation for building your financial future. Here's the thing. Hard work doesn't mean endless hours or burnout. It means working smart and being consistent. Think of it as planting seeds. Each day, you're putting in small, steady efforts that will eventually grow into something significant. Whether it's building a business, improving your skills, or making investments, hard work pays off in the long run. Consider Elon Musk, who famously worked 100-hour weeks in the early days of his career. He wasn't afraid of the grind, and his dedication helped him create Tesla and SpaceX, companies that revolutionized entire industries. While you don't need to work 100-hour weeks, having a strong work ethic can set you apart and help you reach your financial goals. Remember, you don't have to do it all at once. Show up every day, learn, adapt, and be willing to put in the work, and you'll be on a solid path toward financial success. Up next, save in big chunks. When it comes to saving, everyone has a different approach. Some people save a little at a time, while others prefer to stash away larger sums when they can. By applying these money rules means the focus isn't on the exact amount, but on creating a savings habit that works for you. For example, maybe you save a percentage of every paycheck. That's consistency at work. Or maybe you prefer to save in bigger chunks, like tax returns, bonuses, or commissions. Both approaches have benefits. Regular small savings add up over time, while big chunks can fast-track your savings goals. One friend of mine saved $5 from every paycheck when he was just starting out. Over a few years, that habit helped him build an emergency fund. Another friend saved only when he got his tax return each year, but he made sure to put that entire amount into savings, and it added up quickly. The secret is finding what fits your life and staying consistent. So whether you're saving big or small, what matters is that you're committed to saving. Find your rhythm, build your cushion, and keep growing that nest egg. Your future self will be grateful. The tricky world of lending money to loved ones. When mastering money rules, one rule stands clear. Don't mix family, friends, and finances unless you're prepared for possible complications. Lending money to loved ones often comes with emotional strings, and it can lead to uncomfortable situations. Here's a scenario. You lend money to a friend who promises to pay you back in a month. But then a month passes, and they haven't paid you back. Maybe they forgot, maybe they're struggling. Whatever the reason, it can create tension. When you mix money with relationships, it's easy for misunderstandings to arise and for people to feel resentment. One person I know lent a significant amount to a family member who didn't repay it on time. The lender felt hurt, the borrower felt embarrassed, and eventually it put a strain on their relationship. If you do decide to lend, consider it a gift and expect nothing in return. That way, if they pay you back, great. If not, you've already prepared yourself emotionally. When it comes to family and friends, protect your relationships first. Help out in other ways. Offer advice, support, or resources, but keep your financial boundaries intact. Moving forward to the next rule, don't gamble. Unless you're prepared to lose, let's be real. Gambling and wealth building are two very different things. When it comes to mastering money, the golden rule is to make calculated moves, not risky bets. Gambling is about chance, not strategy. And if you're not prepared to lose, it's better to skip the casino. Whether it's betting at the horse races or taking a hot stock tip, remember that gambling relies on unpredictable outcomes. If you're investing, it should be in assets you've researched and feel confident about. Remember, even seasoned investors make mistakes, but they plan for risk. Take the story of someone who invested everything in a high-risk stock without research. He believed he'd found a sure thing, but the investment crashed and he lost almost everything. High-risk moves might sound thrilling, but without a plan, they can leave you empty-handed. If you do gamble, use only what you're prepared to lose. But for real wealth building, rely on informed decisions. It's a safer path to sustainable growth. Up next, don't borrow money. Unless you really have to. Debt can be a double-edged sword. While borrowing can sometimes be useful, these money rules remind us to use it sparingly and wisely. Debt can fuel growth, like starting a business or buying a home, but borrowing for consumer expenses is a trap. Picture someone who relies on credit cards for daily expenses. It may feel manageable at first, but over time, the interest builds up and debt spirals out of control. It's common, but it leads to a cycle of working to pay off interest rather than building wealth. Consider this approach. If you're thinking of borrowing, ask yourself if it's essential and whether you have a plan to repay it. If it's for a car to get to work, make sure it's a car you can afford. If it's for a business, ensure there's a roadmap for profit. Borrow only when you're prepared and have a strategy. Debt isn't always bad, but it's powerful. Use it wisely, and it can be a tool rather than a burden. And there you have it, money magicians. The ultimate guide to mastering rich money, rules now. Each of these 15 rules is a building block toward financial independence and peace of mind. Remember, wealth isn't just about numbers. It's about creating a life of freedom and opportunity. If you found this video helpful, I highly recommend checking out my next video, which complements this one perfectly. If you're excited to keep learning, drop a "more" in the comments and make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's continue this journey together toward a future where money works for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.